welcome to the Progressive Mind Show. We're thankful for yet a beautiful day. We would continue the conversation tonight, and it is with Richard Wooten. He's running for the position of alderman for the 6th Ward. In a short while, we will go into that. Richard Wooten, who is here, and I don't want us to deviate from the conversation. Today, we are talking about, we were going to meet three folks who are running for the office of alderman in the city of Chicago. Two of them, unfortunately, due to urgent and traffic issues, could not make it. They called to, of course, explain the situation. But Richard had a similar situation. He braced through, and he's here, and we are appreciative of his time. We're going to go straight to the man here. Richard, sorry I took a little bit of your time.
No, I was really enjoying what you were saying, because it's very similar to what we're experiencing here, and that is political power at its worst. It's causing people to turn against each other. When we had our election in 2015, we saw how our country, the United States of America, had divided itself.
Right.
And, this is a very similar situation throughout the world. Politics has become a poison because people forget who put them in office. They forget who they're supposed to represent. And when they forget who they represent, they begin to actually form an allegiance among one another. And then they begin to try to, how can I say this here, take over the power that we gave them.
Exactly.
But we have to actually stand firm and be understanding that we still can actually reduce their power by voting. And we have to get out, and we have to come out, and we have to vote. The power is for the people.
Yeah.
And that's where we actually stand. That's why I'm running today, is because, we have seen that over the past 8 years, our community has gotten worse and not better. For the past 8 years, our kids' education level has not been improved. And, we're looking out for their future. So if their educational experience in life is not equal to the another side of the city, then we're not doing any justice to our kids. So when you have elected officials who's okay with that, it's time to get them out of office.
All right. Yeah, the man is ready. We will give him the phone lines if you want to ask him questions. We will do that in a short while. But Richard, before we continue, and thanks for chiming in with that very intellectual input and wise submission. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I wish we had time so we can go deeper into some stuff. But let our listeners know who Richard Wooten is.
Okay, Richard Wooten is first and foremost is a pastor. I'm the pastor of Gathering Point Universal Ministries. I'm a United States Army veteran. I served in the Desert Storm War. After I left the war, came home and took the test for the Chicago Police Department. And I was blessed to actually get on the Chicago Police Department back in 1993. I retired in 2015. And I'm a business owner. I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a community leader.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you ever take sports whilst you were, in all these careers and professions?
You know what? I mean, I played sports in high school.
Okay.
I played football and I played baseball.
Have you ever had any African food yet?
You know what? I visited Nigeria.
Okay.
And I keep forgetting what they call it, but it was like a soup, like, you eat with your hand.
Is it fufu?
Fufu, there you go. Yeah. And it was, I mean, it's very interesting. It was good. And I had a stain on my shirt. So, it was like, I've been, blessed in that position, So, but it was really great. And, I'm actually, I want to go to Ghana next.
Yeah.
And there's other countries, other places I want to go to also. But it was a great feeling there. I had an opportunity to preach at a church while I was there, and I came back home and I told the people back here in the States, I said, you know what, we're too cosmetically correct. I said, we need to really get back to our natural skin, and what I meant by that is that we try to make ourselves fit the system that has been given us instead of being who God created us to be. And when we push in that direction, we don't allow the frustrations of the political forces to overwhelm us by frustration. We begin to get knowledgeable and understand that, we have the power to actually merge together and combine ourselves and do something better. We don't have to stay in frustration and in poverty. We can actually come out of that if we actually have the strength to do so.
That's beautiful, beautifully said. What was the similarity? Did you notice any similarities when you were in Nigeria with of course, the folks there with black folks here. Did you notice any
You know what?
cultural?
The cultural difference is that I felt free over there. Over here, you kind of get judged. And that's just the way it is for an African American. You get judged, just because of the color of your skin. But over there, we all were the same.
Right.
And it was great,
Right.
So I really enjoyed it.
And you enjoy the food too. So I can guarantee you that if you do go to Ghana, you would even enjoy the food more, because Ghanaians are better cooks than Nigerians.
Well, that's my next journey.
I know my Nigerian friends will be on me now. Okay, Richard, you running for the Sixth Ward, and let our listeners know people who might not know what the Sixth Ward is. Please give us a description of what it is.
Well, the Sixth Ward is located on the south side of Chicago.
Okay.
And the communities that it actually occupies is a small piece of Chesterfield, Chatham, Park Manor, Greater Grand Crossing, Auburn Gresham, and Inglewood.
Okay.
So it occupies those south side areas. If you want to look at it from a geographical area, pretty much from 87th Street on the south to 66th Street on the north, from the Dan Ryan to east to Cottage Grove. But then you go on the west side of the expressway, which is Interstate 94. It goes from 74th Street on the south, 66th Street on the north, the Dan Ryan, over to Bishop. Okay. So it has a very broad, very big grounds to cover. Okay. And it actually has, different communities that has different needs. But there's the main three is the things that they share: economic development, public safety, and educational awareness in our schools.
We know this month is Black History Month.
Yes.
And we have plenty of time to talk about your campaign. Please help us understand the significance, the importance of Black History Month, and why the youth should pay attention to Black History Month and learn from it.
Well, the Bible tells us that our people suffer from a lack of knowledge. So when our kids suffer from a lack of knowledge and don't understand where they've come from, where their lineage actually extends to, they find themselves, they could find themselves in the same position that their ancestors was in. So when we talk about slavery, when we talk about how African Americans, how Black people got here, it wasn't voluntarily. And what we had to go through just to receive some sense of freedom, because when they took the chains off of us in slavery, they put the handcuffs on us. So you still had the same format of slavery and position. So in the judicial system, African Americans actually houses a higher number percentage-wise in the judicial system. And it's a system that is not made, for the benefit of the African Americans, but it's made for the benefit of the system and the white man.
Right.
So we have to be able to understand that we have to educate our kids, because if our kids are not properly educated, our kids will fall in line with experiencing something of the past. So that's where we're at right now, trying to make sure that our kids understand, who Dr. Martin Luther King was, why did he fight for civil rights, who was Malcolm X, and so forth and so forth, Harriet Tubman, what was her bravery about, one of the things that our kids are actually, first of all, in I believe it was 72 or 82, something like that, it was a mandate, legislative mandate by the state of Illinois that that Black history be taught in public schools. Well, that has not been
followed through
on, right? It has not been put in position. We know everybody else's history, but we don't know our history. And that is a problem in the African American community. If we knew our history, believe you me, we wouldn't have to live in the way we were living out here. We live in like second class. We don't get the same thing the North Side get. We don't get the mental facilities are closing up in our communities. Our educational, we don't have a STEM cell program in our schools. We don't have the things that we need in order to make sure that our kids are being productively, mindset to meet their future. So what are we doing? We're failing our generation. We're failing the future of the African American race. And it's our responsibility to make sure that our kids are trained right. Our kids are equipped with the best possible education and with the ability to go to a college, to go to a trade school. But those things are not available to us anymore as far as the trade school. When it was discovered that we were good with our hands and we can build things without having to go through all of the trades, but they began to put those other stipulations in the way. and they took out the trade schools. So, you see that, we don't have the necessities to elevate ourselves anymore.
But a whole bunch. Some people would always look at Black History Month, and especially for us immigrants. Okay, I mean, I'll be honest. When I first came here, Black History Month. Okay, Black History Month is okay. Maybe it's a month set aside for Black people to celebrate what?
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay, so
we get a month.
Right, you get a month, and I think
it's the shortest month of the year.
Exactly. Now, for the achievement and the contribution of African Americans to this society, the American society and the economy, I think that it ought to be celebrated every day.
We have to celebrate it every
now,
day.
What is the core? Is it that we're celebrating historic Black people, or the achievements of Black people and the contribution to the building of this country? What is it that we're celebrating?
You know what? First of all, we have to celebrate where we come from. We have to celebrate our heritage. And if we don't celebrate where we come from and our heritage, then we don't know where we're going. And that's the problem right now that we have, is that, our young people have been actually shielded from having access to those things. So what I'm here to say is that we have to begin right now to take not just February, but every day of the year and teach our kids something. The main thing that, and the most horrific thing that has happened is when they took and divided the Black families. It was an honor to have a mother and a father in the same household. But when they began to put welfare in the household and put a requirement with it that the mother could not have a man in the house, it broke up the Black family. And when they broke up the Black family, it was ingenuously put in place to make sure that we will never learn our history, because we've always struggled, and we're still struggling today.
So is it a month for people to learn what Black people have done to this, contribute to this country, or what Black people have been through?
You know what? There's not enough days in any month, in this year, that you can actually sit up here and just dictate on the achievements of African Americans.
Okay.
This is an ongoing thing. We can't, 28 days is not going to tell you the achievement, the greatness of African Americans, with their contributions or what they have actually went through in the past. We have to actually have an ongoing, from Ghana, I hear you, talk about the, the politics and everything that's going on. And I feel it in your soul that, you're very passionate about it. And that is what it is. That's what we have to actually have here. We have to have that same kind of passion in the United States in reference to, how we have overcome. So that's where we're at right now. And this is what we actually here to do, to change the dynamics.
Thank you so much, Rich. The conversation is getting very interesting, and the people are trying to chime in. I have a call on the line. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, Robert Zach. I'm calling from the West Side. I've been listening to the candidate, but I need to educate him real quick, because you just made the statement how people need to be educated. Well, if we're listening to leaders and they're giving us not all of the information, not because you're doing it on purpose, because you aren't properly educated. Let me chime in on that. Number one, Africans call us American blacks. They don't call us African Americans. Okay. So that's number one. I've never been to Africa a day in my life. So I cannot call myself an African American. A Caucasian can move from America to Africa and have a dual residency and be an African American. The only African American that's a true African American is Barack Obama. That's the only person. So call me what I am. I come from a tribe and it's not called black. There's 12 tribes and we all come from it. And if you start teaching people the right way, you understand the Bible says, lift me up and I'll draw. Teach the right way first. Study. But what are you studying? You're studying the whole wide world, where we came from. The earth is over 3.5 billion years old, yet we keep going back to 400 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Are you kidding me? Educate yourself. That's number one of who we are. We're not black Americans. We're not African Americans. We come from a tribe, and it's one of the 12 tribes. What are you, the tribe of how do you say his name? Issachar, I believe. Are you the tribe of Abraham? Are you the tribe? We come from a tribe. That's number one. And we are the dominant gene on this planet. People of color. Browns, mochas, darks. If I ask you to go give me a crayon and bring me a black crayon, are you going to bring me a yellow crayon? Because we're yellow too. Are you going to bring me a red crayon? Because we're red too. Are you going to bring me a brown crayon? Because we're brown. You got to stick with the truth. You understand?
Right.
You got to give out the information that God gave us to give out, not what we made ourselves to be.
Okay.
We know the Caucasians come from the mountains. They are Caucasoid, and they made it with the Mongolians, the Orientals, which is where the Asian come from. Caucasian. Study. I'm asking everybody that's listening to study. If you study, you'll do better.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like people of color want to lay on that sad story of slavery or whatever. But unfortunately, no, we are not slaves. The original slaves were the Caucasians. Educate yourself.
Okay.
Then you'll have the pride that God gave you. If you stay in darkness, you're going to keep on having the kind of conversations that you've been having for the last 10 minutes that I've been listening on this radio.
All right.
And so you know, and it was 1982. It was not 1972. The same year they introduced the Happy Birthday song for Martin Luther King. It was Stevie Wonder. They did that situation to celebrate what they call Black history in the schools. I know if you start calling it what it is, you have to change NAACP's title. You have to change Black History's title. So what? If you got to do it, do it.
Okay.
But call it what it is.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Doc, for calling. I hope you can keep listening, because definitely there are going to be some questions coming from our listeners for the submission that you just made. We thank you for the education and the information you just gave us, and I'm sure some people would also want to counter or maybe chime in. So if you can keep listening, and if need be, you might want to call in and respond to some questions or some suggestions. Okay.
No doubt.
Thank you so much.
Good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
Brother. You know what? And I want to say, the brother is very well knowledgeable, but he actually hit right on the point that I was actually trying to make. Mm-hmm. How much of that education is being taught to our kids?
Right.
How much of that education, and I said 72, 82,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was 82 when they actually put that legislation in place.
Right.
And it still have not been met. So I thank that brother, because he's on point with a lot of things that he's saying, because he feel the pain that is not being educated in our community.
Right.
But we have to actually begin to say, okay, when is it going to start?
And I'm sure this is why you were running for the office of the Sixth Ward. The Sixth Ward. You see a lot of. I mean, I see the passion, and I see the drive, I see the commitment to your community. Of course, being a veteran, being a policeman, you're a pastor, and a father. So you are very vested. It sounds like you're very vested in your community. You want better for your community.
Yes.
And so you're running for the alderman, the position of the alderman. And we will let you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you see wrong and how you want to address them. But before that, we have a caller on the line. I think he's from the Ghana National Council. I think he's an executive from the Ghana National Council Committee who is trying to tell us about what the Ghana National Council is all about and what they're doing, I think this week or next week. But please tell us, sir, your name and if you can go into the details of your call today.
Yes, my name is Elias Utamanja. Thank you for taking my call. I'm calling from Chicago and a planning committee member from the Ghana National Council of Metropolitan Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Please go ahead. And we are grateful that you are chiming into our conversation today. The man here, you are taking his time. After here, you're gonna have to send him a check and to pacify him. But of course, this is a community building show, and so we encourage. We support everything our community is doing, of course, including the Ghana National Council, which I am part of automatically, and I really support all their endeavors. So please tell us why you're calling today. What is cooking with the Ghana National Council of Chicago?
Thank you very much. We have two major programs for this year. The first one is the impending Ghana Independence Dance, 62nd anniversary of Ghana gaining independence from the British. So that is slated to come on the 6th of March, 2019. But that day being a working day, the Ghana National Council and its affiliates decided to push it to the Saturday, which will be on the 9th of March. Mm-hmm. We intend as Ghanaians in Chicago to be able to celebrate that day. It's a special day that Ghana became a nation. It became independent from British rule. So that is the immediate festivities that the Ghana National Council is planning for March.
Okay. Okay. So on the 6th of March, the Ghana National Council of Chicago, which is a council which is in charge of all Ghanaians living in Chicago, is celebrating our Independence Day, which is the day we had our independence from the British. Okay, so we celebrate. So Ghana is celebrating. So that event is going on in Ghana, and we are doing the same here in Chicago. Is that correct?
That is absolutely true, and we are going to celebrate it in Glendon Heights, northwest suburb, at the Ramada Inn. The address is online. Anybody at all can go on Eventbrite. The posters are all over the place. The Independence Day falls on the 5th of March, but our celebration in Chicago here will be on the 9th, which being the Saturday preceding the 6th, because most of us are working.
Right.
So we decided to push it to the Saturday, which is on the 6th of March. It starts at 8 p.m. and ends at 2 a.m. in the morning at Ramada Inn in Glendon Heights. We are throwing open invitation to everybody. It's not limited to only Ghanaians in Chicago. No, we want everybody to come and celebrate that day. It's a special day in Ghana's history. 26 years post-independence. It's a long way. We are not where we are supposed to be as a nation, but at least it's a force to reckon with. So the Ghana National Council and its affiliates in Chicago, we are about 14 affiliates, have put together a very elaborate package, very, very elaborate package for this 62nd anniversary dance.
Okay.
And if time will allow me, or you want me to go through, I can walk your listening audience through the various programs that we have.
Please, briefly, okay, because we have to go back to, so briefly, can you go quickly give us that information?
Yes, to begin with, GNC is the Ghana National Council. Our mission in Chicago is to foster unity. All the Ghanaians in Chicago, when we are united, we are able to build a stronger community. That is our mission as GNC. We want all the Ghanaians to come together. If we are one entity, we form a united front, we build a stronger community in Chicago.
Okay.
Our vision is that, given the numbers over the years, now our number has increased. The Ghanaian community in Chicago keeps growing exponentially. If you look at 20 years ago, vis-a-vis what we have today, we have a huge Ghanaian presence in Chicago.
Do you have a specific figure?
Yes, I'm looking at, we are over 10,000
Okay.
Ghanaians. I'm talking of in metropolitan Chicago.
Okay.
You see, so this is a number that is huge. What do? We have all our social programs that we normally have them on weekends, be it a naming ceremony, an outdooring, a wedding, or engagement party. These are things that we do to socialize.
Okay.
We come together as one people. And time and again, we keep hiring places. We go and rent banquet halls, and then,
Ilyasu, because of time, yes, I would want you to tell our listeners the program lineup and what people should expect or look out for when they come to this celebration on the 9th of March.
On the 9th of March, the program lineup is to be seated of invited guests. All invited guests will be seated. It's an open banquet floor. We have a cultural display, dance troupe from the Ghanaian community that will come and perform Ghanaian dances. Then, preceding that, we have invited guests who will be introduced to everybody, and then there'll be presentation of prizes. We have some individual Ghanaians who have really helped this community to get to where it is today. And it's about time we recognize them. Okay. So we want to do all that in the presence of everybody that day. There'll be a lot of food. We have contracted Ghanaian authentic restaurants in Chicago who are certified by the city of Chicago to provide us an authentic African dish, Ghanaian dish. So that day will be just all Ghana. You are welcome to come and have fun. After that, it's dancing throughout till we get off.
Okay.
So it's a day that we are really going to celebrate the successes that Ghana has marked over the 62 years.
Okay. Thank you so much for this wonderful explanation. So, and it's also an event and a platform for us Ghanaians to connect with our African-American brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora. So it's a great opportunity for all of them to come through. Folks in the Afrocentric community are all invited. And the food part is what I'm very interested in. I think that if you want to taste African cuisine, go to a Ghanaian community event and you would not regret it. There's going to be plenty of variety. And I know that the cultural dances too are very beautiful. I think you have about 3 or 4 of them, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a
Yes,
gate
sir.
fee? Is there an amount do people have to pay?
Yes, I was just coming to that. We are looking for a donation of just $50.
$50.
50, and this $50 is towards a good cause. We are thinking of acquiring a Ghana house in Chicago, which will identify us as a community in Chicago. So it's a gate fee of $50.
Okay. Okay. So if you are two, it's 100. Not there's no
100.
discount. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Or you can have a phone call like this. But for now, we'll have to talk to our gentleman here. Thank you so much for your time. We would be speaking with you again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we would continue our discussion tonight, of course, with the Honorable, I'll call him Honorable already, Richard Wooten. He is running for the 6th Ward office here in Chicago, and we will be giving the phone lines in a short while. But we want him to tell us about his campaign, how he's doing so far, and the things that matter to him most. And so, Richard, we know that there's certain things you're running for a reason. Please tell us why. And we know that economics of the community is very important to you. Can you please expand on that?
Well, first of all, this is my first run for alderman. I ran for alderman. This is actually my 3rd time, so I'm believing the 3rd time is a charm.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat back and I had to actually assess what's been going on in my community.
Mm-hmm.
And people would be asking me, they said, why are you running again?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them, I said, do you believe or do you feel that we are better off today than we were 8 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people said, no, we're not. Some of the things that we look at are our economic development. We're bringing some type of businesses in, but we're not bringing in the right kind of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to keep bringing in, nail shops and, beauty shops. And, you need to continue to give out liquor licenses. We give out so many liquor licenses in our own community that we don't even actually worry about bringing no grocery stores in. Inglewood is a food desert, and he's just allowed, the president alderman just allowed another liquor store to be opened up in one of the most highest crime areas in the Inglewood area.
You're talking about the current alderman?
The current alderman,
okay.
Yes. And when you see things like that going on, you have to take a stance, because that is telling me that he doesn't care about the community. That's telling me that when you put that poison in the midst of chaos already, that you're just trying to make them actually become more aggressively violent in that community. So we have to look at that as a dishonest move by the alderman, and we have to make sure that we are providing some type of sense of protection for our kids. Public safety is another avenue.
Let's stay with economics for a little bit. So we know we all know about the impoverished situation of the for folks living on the west side and north side of Chicago, west side and south side of Chicago. And so liquor store is, it's not what people actually need. People need companies and factories. But we also know that factories that have left are not coming back. Now, you mentioned grocery stores. Now, are these the only sectors, or I would say the only businesses that can bring jobs to the community?
No, and that's exactly what we need. We need businesses that's bringing jobs.
Okay.
The only prime real estate we had in the 6th Ward was the old Kennedy King College site, which is located between 67th and 69th in Wentworth. So it's a very large, portion where you could have actually put a major retail establishment over there.
Okay.
You could have put some industry businesses in there that could have brought jobs into the community. But the alderman, he didn't actually find that to be necessary. What he did, because the north side was actually going through a rebuilding stage, they were looking for a place to put fleet management. And he volunteered to bring it onto the only prime piece of real estate we had. So that actually takes a null and void any potential of, bringing a major retail, because that location was right off the expressway, right off the Skyway. We could have made actually some, brought, jobs. We could have actually generated, mega revenue over there. But when we look at that and we see what this alderman is doing, he's study making these here rookie mistakes, in city council that's not benefiting us as a community.
And before you continue, there are people who have also said that the billions that have been dedicated to the north side of Chicago in terms of building the city, even though it doesn't seem like it needs more building because there's everything on the north side. But and so if you go to the council, how are you going to fight differently to bring some of these resources to the south side of Chicago?
Well, first and foremost, I will not be a 100% voter with the mayor, because the mayor doesn't have always our community at his best interest, at his or her best interest. I would actually seek out the best interest for my community, and I would vote based on the best interest of my community. Although, you know, as a city council member, you have to actually look at the entire city at certain points. But when the north side grows, I want my south side to grow as well.
Okay.
So one of the things that we're going to do, we're going to make sure that we keep the community aware of what's going on. You know, I tell people all the time, I say, we are highly educated people. We're just not well informed. And I think the caller actually mentioned that earlier. We're not well informed. Our elected officials, they make these behind the door deals, and then we suffer as a community. So I want to have a community advisory committee that works within my office. I want to have a business advisory committee that works within my office. I want to have an educational committee that works within my office, because I want to make sure that every city service that is servicing my ward is being met.
Somebody, a caller asked for your number earlier, and I don't know if you're willing to give it out. I don't know if people want to help you out.
773-673-9199. Again, that's 773-673-9199.
Okay.
Even as a police officer, I gave my number out to everyone, and people talk to me directly. That's the only way you're going to resolve issues, if you actually dealing with people directly.
Okay. Well, looks like we have a call already. The phone line is now open, but we'll try and take this call. Hello, caller. Caller, please tell us your name and why you're calling.
My name is Ifamio, and I'm calling to first thank you for the ad you did for us. But I have a question for. I'm listening to the program. I have a question for the Inglewood, the aspirant. My question to him is that beyond, I like the way he's tackling the issue of alcohol. Now, if the issuing of license does not lie in the hands of the alcohol, just maybe a vote against it, then we may have to develop an effective way of taking a lot of these alcoholic drinks out of the place. Now, the second thing will also be the issue of drugs, other drugs in the Inglewood area, because I've lived there before. I lived in Inglewood for about 2 to 3 years, and I know some of these issues. And the issue of employment, if the jobs are not coming, how are people going to get employed? Because at the end of the day, the job finds work for the idle hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Yes, he hit it right on the point. Hit the nail right on the head. We have to find a way to bring jobs into the community. If you go through Inglewood right now, you will see that there are so many vacant properties over in the Inglewood community, and also even in the Chatham Park Manor community. Because what is happening is that blacks are leaving the city in drones, because they're trying to find a better place to live. They're trying to find a safer place to raise their kids. They're trying to find a place where they can get employed. They're trying to find a place where, they can make ends meet. And we're not offering those things in the city of Chicago. So one of the things we have to do, if we want to have a strong economic development plan, we have to have a strong public safety plan, because nobody is going to come into a community where there's a fear of safety. And one of the major, big box stores that we have in our community, Target, is now leaving. So the only major store that we had in the community that hired hundreds of people is now getting ready to leave. So now, not only are our seniors going to be have to find another place to get their prescriptions filled, not only are we going to have to find another place for our families to get clothes for their kids, but we have to find out another place for people to get hired. So when big box stores like that close, we have to think about, how do we actually sustain our future?
Exactly.
So we have to begin to focus on bringing back the old mom and pop stores. We have to find people in the community who have specific skills, who have business intellects, and who want to actually have a business of their own, and find a way to get them into business in their own communities.
Absolutely. And sometimes business people are skeptical about the safety of their store and their lives in the first place. So this brings us to I really want us to stay with economics for a little bit, but it brings us the public safety, right? Which is very much concerning to you. Yes. So if your policy on I want you to tell us about your policy on public safety. Let's touch on what it is right now and how you intend to improve on it.
See, public safety first have to deal with the appearance of your community. and you have to deal with the drug dealers out there. You have to get community more engaged and involved. One of the things that the police department has actually have done in the past is neglected to have community involvement in problem solving within their own community. And it actually changes whoever the superintendent is. When you get a superintendent who doesn't understand how to have community policing, but they actually focus on chasing guns, drugs, and guns and drugs, guns, drugs, and gangs, and that's what they main focus on, they have a tendency to lose focus of bringing community into actually working with them.
Right.
We have to begin to focus on bringing that type of service back, community policing, where community people can actually have a stake in providing safety in their community. I mean, face it, these kids that's out here selling the drugs, out here causing all this havoc, they belong to somebody. And they belong to somebody that's in the community. So we get the community engaged and involved, and we begin to start doing, recruitment of police from the police officers from within our own community, then a lot of people would they'll know some of the dealers in their own community.
Keisha King says, what do you plan to do as an alderman, Mr. Wooten, to fix the lack of our history being taught in our communities? Before you answer that question, let me read out see if we have another question here. Okay, Crystal No says, I have a question for Richard. What neighborhood do you live in, and where are your favorite places to spend time in your town? So you want to marry those two questions?
Okay. The first thing that we have to do is bring social programs back into our schools. And the state and the federal government give out grant monies to organizations that's already providing those services. The problem is that our schools in our ward and our communities are not utilizing those sources. So it's just because they're not teaching it doesn't mean that we can't have an organization to go in and and teach it. So that's what we want to do. We want to find these organizations, these non-for-profit organizations, and we want to utilize them and to come into teaching what they're getting paid to teach. Okay. And the second thing, I live in the Chatham-Chesterfield community. And my favorite place, I love going and watching movies. I like a nice movie, and I go to the theater that's in the community on 87th and the Dan Ryan.
So Keisha King says target leaving is really affecting us. So Keisha King, he is running to make sure that so if you were to be in office, what would you do to prevent some like target leaving? Would you have done something different to keep them there?
See, first of all, you have that. When I mentioned that we have a business advisory committee. See, our business advisory committee will be actually keeping touch with the businesses in our community, finding out how everything is going. See, Target didn't just start having revenue problems. Okay, our alderman just didn't actually have time to actually go and actually partner with them and find out exactly what was going on. If this, and I'm going to show you how this actually worked out. City Council voted $13 million to Target for opening 2 new stores on the north side. And Target in turn turned around and closed the 2 stores on the south side. Yeah. So that tells me that you was not communicating with the businesses in your community. So communication and connection is the most powerful than anything.
Well, I hope he answered your question to your satisfaction. Is that Keisha? No, it was Erica, right? Okay. So, Crystal, if you want to get in touch with the community movie, would you call it community movie watch night?
Well, we do community unity in the community night, and we go to different movies, and we get people from the Grand Crossing community, Park Manor, Chesterfield, Chatham, West Chesterfield. So we've all found our way of actually doing this here. I'm also the president of the Greater Chatham Alliance, GCA, which is a community organization in the Chatham community. And I began to do that, and I started finding that people were finding an interest in that, because a lot of people want to get out of their house and they want to go someplace in the community, but the only place in the community that we can go to that we can enjoy is Studio Movie Grill.
And people also want to feel communal. They want to feel that they're in tune with their neighbors.
Exactly.
A lot of times though, it looks as if we are divided and people are cynical and people are just not trying to be in tune. But you see, if you go into people's personal life, or if you try to talk to people, you realize that people don't want to be lonely. Even though they seem like that and they act like that, they really actually want to socialize. Yeah. But there are a lot of things that makes us feel as though things make us look like we don't like each other, but it's the opposite.
Well, we've been poisoned in our minds by way of saying, well, you know what? Everywhere we go, we always cause violence. There's always going to be an episode that breaks out, or even the businesses don't, why spend money on a black business? They're not going to do the job right. So for years, that stuff been planted into our heads, and we've been divided for a long time. Now is the time where we have to regain our understanding, our trust with one another. As aldermen, that's what I want to do. I want to have, a night where we all go out, community can go out to the movie with the aldermen, where we can actually go into what I do every last Friday of each month. One of our senior residents, I go into their building and I do movie night with them every last Friday of the month. And I've been doing it for almost 8 years now with them.
Oh, wow. How many people are running for the same office?
It's just 3 of us.
And how different are you from everybody else?
Very different. I am very community driven. I was doing this before I became, engaged in politics. Matter of fact, it was because I was doing this type of stuff. Community people pushed me into the political realm.
Okay.
And I found, that it was almost a, kind of a gruddy thing to be engaged in, because you had people in those positions who felt they was actually supposed to be in those, but they was entitled, and they fought hard and they fought dirty to maintain those. You look at our political, our city council now, it's a lot of, now everything is being revealed, extortion, wiretaps, all this stuff is going on. There's no honor among thieves. They're starting to actually take each other out.
By you being a veteran and a policeman and a pastor, these are very dynamic, unique experiences that forms a person's culture.
Yes.
How has that inspired you or helped you to understand people better?
You know what? It's the spiritual side of me that gives me the passion to deal with people in a way and to speak out against negativity and the wrongs. When I retired in 2015, when the Laquan McDonald video was released, I was the only officer that spoke out against that. I'm the one who actually called the DOJ to come out and do an investigation within the Chicago Police Department.
You were a police officer then?
Yes, I was actually then. And to show you how engaged I was in making a change in the police department, I called retirees, because I knew active duty officers wasn't going to give me wasn't going to assist me with this process. But I called retirees and I asked them 2 questions. I said, 1, how do you feel about the Laquan McDonald shooting? And I was looking for people who was fired up and who was angry, because that's how I felt when I saw it. I was angry because I said that could have been my son. Secondly,
even though you were a policeman,
regardless, even as a policeman, I've been stopped several times, not because, because I was a police, right? Didn't give me the okay to actually just drive down the street being black.
Well, okay, policeman driving as a civilian, right?
As civilian, right?
Because we were
so,
civilian.
So in the second question I asked the retirees, what do you feel about the superintendent? And they told me, and they expressed it to me. I said, we're calling a press conference because we're going to speak out against what happened with the police department. And we did that. I held 2 separate town hall meetings with the Department of Justice. And I was asked to sit on the board, on the committee with the Chicago Police Accountability Task Force, which I did. And I sat on the committee for the police and community relations. And in that, we found some very troubling and disturbing things about what's going on within the police department. Things that I already knew, but it became light now, and we were able to put that out there. So because of my engagement and my involvement, my retirement party, the white guys, they booed me and called me a traitor and a snitch at the retirement party. I went into the restroom, and in each urinal was the picture, my picture that was cut out of the programs inside of each urinal.
Wow.
It was so intense. And I wasn't mad, because what happened, I told all the other officers, I said, no, they just been exposed. Now you know who you're working with. And I never stepped back. I never backed down. I kept on with the drive. So what makes me different than any of the candidates, right? I have a drive. I'm not a quitter. It's evidence that I'm not a quitter because it's my 3rd time running for alderman. I worked hard in my life.
And you actually resigned from the police force because of the Laquan McDonald case?
Not just because of the case, but I got to the point where I was actually just tired. I got tired of the department. The love and the joy of it wasn't there anymore. What I loved about the department mostly was that my ability to communicate with the people on the streets. I tell people all the time, 98% of the people that I ever locked up in my whole career, right? We always laugh and joke around while we actually going through the process because they know they did something wrong and they got to deal with the consequences.
Right.
I had a situation in Inglewood one day. I was chasing a guy down the street on a domestic, and a guy pulls up on the side of me. He said, "Wooten, what you chasing him for?" And I'm study running, and he just down the street in his car, and he grabs the guy for me. And the guy goes, "Folks, man, what you doing?" He said, "Man, if Wooten locking you up, you did something wrong." See, I always try to be fair with people. But I also understand that you can't allow people to get over on you. So city council is going to have to watch out when I come down there because they're not going to get over on the south side of Chicago. They're not going to keep getting over on my people. They've divided us long enough. They've taken away from us long enough. It's time for us to step up now and take back what's ours.
How has the campaign been going so far?
The campaign is going pretty good. You got the old tricksters out there. We put up, our yard signs, and next morning we go out there, they gone. So the other candidates that are playing these games, but I believe in God, and I know God will see me through. And as I continue on with my journey, I'm going to continue on calling my people. I'm going to continue on going to see people. I'm going to continue to come to, have conversations like this because this is what we need today.
Right.
We're in 2019. We can't keep living like we in 1960s.
Well, we're putting that information for you now. Our time is up. We're just 3 minutes here, and we're wrapping up the discussion this evening. Next week, watch out for another very interesting one. We're bringing you more candidates. It could be the automatic candidates or the mayoral candidates. We are going to be bringing different candidates every week to talk about, of course, why they're running, and so that you can also get to hear from them firsthand and decide for yourself who is going to be working for your best interest. I think the days of just looking at status and staying at home and being apathetic to the political spectrum is long gone. And if you don't get involved, someone else will get involved and make decisions for you, which might not always be in your favor. All right. So if you don't want people choosing leaders who are not going to work for you, at least do your best. Do your bit so that if it happens, you know that you went out there and decided on who you think should work for you, and it probably didn't work. But don't times of standing by letting others do it is past gone. Get involved. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the early voting starts on February 11th through the 25th of February. The Loop super site is 117 West Washington Street, and it looks like that'll be open only, from the 4th through the 9th from 9 to 5, and Sunday the 10th from 10 to 4.
Okay, there you have it. It's been great always coming your way. I really appreciate everyone that has contributed to this conversation. All our Facebook followers from Samuel Enum, Kish King, Asia Mendez, Eric Adam, Anthony Aguji, Lambert Wolano, Love, Maia, Sierra Miller, Eric, and then who else? Crystal Knowles. Forgive me if I couldn't get your name. There's too many, a lot of them here. But thank you so much. Next week, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m., we shall be coming your way again. God bless. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. Bye-bye.